I will buy you whatever you want. I will buy you whatever your heart desires. If I want to buy you a haircut, DK, your name better be Turkey Tom, okay? Interoperability. Why do I have to pronounce that like a child? Reduction of medical errors. This is where I'm at with my audiobook right now. We're on chapter 1. We've done the opening credits, the ending credits, the introduction. And now we're about halfway through chapter 1. Chapter 1's like a Monday. You know what I mean? Like chapter 1's like a Monday. You get into chapter 1, you're like, here we go again.
Here we go again.
You know, the moment you step foot in here, it's here we go again. How many chapters? Good question. If you are interested in audiobook or audiobook creation, I really recommend this website right here. And let me make sure I'm not on embarrassing. You can find all sorts of projects. There are hundreds of projects that are on here. They will offer you a contract. So they liked my audition. They said, hey man, sign this contract. It's basically that I, Eric Pullman, will produce an audiobook based on the book listed above for this publishing house, set forth on the terms of ACX audiobook production standard terms, which, of course, you know, they make you meet certain specifications, but assuming you do so, you can be accepted, and they'll give you a date for a 15-minute checkpoint due, and that's due at the end of this weekend, and a finalized audiobook due, which is due January 23rd. So, yeah, nice. Thanks so much for sharing. This is helpful. Absolutely. And if you are just entering the world of audiobook narration, you don't need that much. I will say, just to get started, you won't need that much. I started out with an $80 microphone. It was a Samson CO1U, which was a compressor USB microphone. And I started with that back in the day. And I edited with free software. You can edit with Audacity. A lot of people love Audacity. I used WavePad, personally. I thought that was better. And I hooked everything up to my Microsoft Surface that I got for like $100 or whatever. Like the very first Microsoft Surface. Yeah, that was my humble beginnings. If you don't have a dedicated space for it, then that's just an inevitability, especially with the requirements of ACX. They make you put a ton of gain on it. And even as something as professional as a Shure SM7B microphone, you know, this is, of course, the microphone you would see in any podcast and any professional setting. Even with this, it is possible in the wrong room, once amplified, you will get a tremendous amount of sound bouncing off of all of the walls. So the only way to really mitigate that is to get yourself in the most sound dampening environment possible. And for me, that's being surrounded by all of this fuzz, you know, all this fuzz. This is, you know, my jackets, my clothes, bunch of jackets. There we go. First of all, there's the noise gate, which is really important because that will turn off the microphone every time it senses a silence. So there's virtually no background noise. You can see it when it turns from close to open. And it only does that when anything coming from the mic is above 50 decibels. And you can kind of hear that. I don't know if 3.8 milliseconds will be better. I like just playing around with little settings like this. The de-esser is like really important. What this does is it specifically isolates all of the S's that I say and brings the S's down to create an element, an essence of sound that is more normalized. It specifically isolates the S's, brings those high frequency S's down to the general wavelength. So that's what the de-esser does. Very important thing right here, de-essers. And you can kind of hear too. Do you have any samples on your profile? I do. My samples are more of like the first 15 minutes. The 15-minute checkpoints that I send for books, I will also upload those as samples to my profile. Because, well, I don't know if it's 15 minutes or like the 5-minute retail samples, but they're already retail samples that are put out there for free. So any legal rights issue will never be elicited, given that you can freely access that sample no matter where you go. And then this is the one for growing rice. The simplest guide to growing rice at home. Written by Teal Kimball. Narrated by Eric Pullman. So you can put something like this on there where it's got 15 minutes of a sample basically. Ideal is they require less space and grow faster. But I'll tell you what, nobody really looks at these samples. People only look at these samples if like they don't really browse the samples, you know what I mean? Yo ho ho. This is how I sound. Like all the time. This is it. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. My voice is a little sore, so I'm kind of holding back. Ariane, I appreciate you. Everything about you. You're a beautiful person. And a beautiful mind. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Do you want to buy me a haircut? Yo, DK, I will buy you anything at all. I will buy you whatever you want. I will buy you whatever your heart desires. If I want to buy you a haircut, DK, your name better be TurkeyTom, okay? This one's a hard one. This interoperability. Why do I have to pronounce that like a child? It's still entertaining since it's you. Oh my gosh, Ariane, you are making my heart flutter. Let's see. The wording is strange. It is. That's what I'm saying. This interoperability. You know what? I have to just, like, if I just say it confidently enough, no one's going to question me. They're just going to go with it, you know? They're just going to go with it. This interoperability. See, that sounded like I knew what I was talking about, right? That sounded like I knew what I was talking. However, I am so behind on these, I have to make some motion. If I don't have some motion on these, like, I will be very, very, very sad. I will be a very sad individual. Reduction of medical errors. Do not have American. All right, let's see. How long have you been doing this for? Good question. I've been a member of ACX since 2016. I only recently started releasing audiobooks last year. Technically, if you want to say, like, when did I create my account? When did I start auditioning for things? When did I start getting offers? It would probably be about, like, 8 years ago. So I could say I've been doing it for 8 years, but I really haven't been doing it for 8 years. I've really just been practicing for 8 years. I'm going to rest this voice of mine. This hour and 20 minutes was well spent.